All right, so let's look at this VOD. So this one got submitted to me by Ataki. I don't really know how to say that. And they wanted tips on how to play against Duck Hunt. They wanted me to review this VOD, so let's just get right into it. Um, Basically, so how this matchup works is you have to pay attention to the Duck Hunt's patterns, both at mid range. What they do after throwing a projectile is really important, as well as up close, because Duck Hunt's up close tools are really not that great, as well as his disadvantage state. So a lot of it is just paying attention to the Duck Hunt fundamentally and trying to close the gap slowly. And how you're going to close the gap is just mixing up your movement. One thing to note about this matchup in particular is you really want to avoid pulling too many turnips because Duck Hunt is really, really good at catching Peach and trapping her there when you're pulling turnip. And he gets a lot of mileage off of frisbee combos on Peach, especially. One thing that's also good against Duck Hunt as Peach is Peach's mid range airborne movement. So, stuff like platforms are really crucial, as well as utilizing float and all of your mix ups in this matchup to try to slowly close the gap. You want to focus more on movement in this matchup, is the thing I'm trying to get at, because when you're stationary, Duck Hunt can just trap you there, and that's a really big deal. You also want to push your advantage state and edge guard Duck Hunt because Duck Hunt's disadvantage is pretty bad. He doesn't really have many options for getting out of juggles. He also gets edge guarded. And overall, up close, you can kind of mash on him as Peach if you're spacing your buttons correctly. So let's just get right into it. So so the thing is you have to kind of treat Can like Luma, where he wants to kind of force you to do something with Can, and then he's in the back to punish you for trying to hit Can basically. It's like a Luma or Hydrant if you want to think of it like that. But majority of the time it's this matchup comes down to how well you play around this Can as well as not getting hit by Frisbee in neutral. So it's really good. I want to mention though that this is a really good float height to be at in this matchup because one thing you can do against Can specifically is if he's hitting it towards you, you can just float and then air dodge through it. Not like directional air dodge, just like regular. Go through it, close the gap. Because if this is going this way and you go through it, Duck Hunt is in a really awkward spot where he has to either hit the Can off stage or run over there and hit it back. So getting past the Can first is a really big deal and playing around Can. Turnips are good at hitting it. You can also hit it with your aerials, golf club, side B. Side B is also a really good surprise mix up in this matchup, auto cancel side B. So you want to utilize all of your movement. Just something to note. So yeah. Oh yeah, forgot to mention that. So most zoners in this game struggle to cover diagonally above them. It's a really big deal. So that's why float is so good in this matchup and just pressuring Duck Hunt and most zoners in this game at an angle because it conditions them to anti-air you, so that makes it easier to kind of approach them on the ground. So it's mixing up your movement from the ground and above. You can even poke with turnips. Fair is also really good in this matchup because you can just go at that angle, hit Duck Hunt while also hitting Gunman and clanking with the Frisbee in some spots. But yeah, that's really good. So you throw the turnip. So yeah, that's what you want to do. Get over the Can as fast as you can, as soon as you can, not as fast, because if you try to be too aggressive, Duck Hunt will stuff you out. But see, once the Can is over here, Duck Hunt has to make a choice on whether he wants to go over here and give up stage to hit it back to control neutral, or he has to hit it off stage. So it's really awkward for him. So you want to set up situations with the Can where he has to choose between hitting it back towards you or hitting it off stage. But yeah, here, once you're up close, you outbox Duck Hunt really, really hard. The only thing you have to worry about is his nair, but back air destroys his character up close. Just keep that in mind once you get up close. See what the Duck Hunt does up close. Oftentimes, if you're pressuring them, you can kind of condition rolls or jump aways out of them. And maintaining state control against zoners is key because the longer you keep them in disadvantage, the more damage you get and the easier it is to kill them. And you can play even more patient with the lead and take even less risks. So, but yeah, that is something to keep in mind up close. Is this Frisbee? The downer was okay, but instead you want to go for more double jump, cancel forward air. So jump, float, fall forward air over it. It's a lot better against duck hunt. It's safer on shield if you space it. Dare is only really good if you're like super duper up close. Back air is also a little bit better for pressure because it will clank with this and stuff it out. Like back air up close just destroys duck hunt. J- Rising back air, ground float, whatever, all are good. Even double jump cancel, double jump JCFF back air will also do the trick. But yeah, being at this angle is really good, especially since you don't have to worry about can anymore. So this matchup basically is just paying attention to all the projectiles and seeing what Duck Hunt does and seeing where the can is at all time. It's kind of like a C4 in the sense that you just if you're not paying attention to it against a good Duck Hunt, you'll lose. But yeah, this is something you want to avoid in this matchup. Instead of relying on turnip when you get this close, use your movement and use your buttons. Don't dash back and pull turnip because again, Duck Hunt will just trap you with frisbee, gunman, sometimes even can. Instead, I would be a little more aggressive here in terms of just denying space from Duck Hunt and pressuring him because you're already up close. You already got past the mid range. Now you're up close to where you can just start pressuring Duck Hunt shield, walling out the nairs, and just kind of taking over at this point. Oh yeah. So the way you want to use turnips, a way I like to think about it is a way to kind of just disarm one projectile. It can hit can away much easier. It clanks with frisbee. It pretty much shuts off any gunman tricks. You can throw it at an angle to kind of poke him, but instead I like using turnips. I like to hold them until I throw them just to not think about one projectile anymore. If Duck Hunt's throwing like three on the stage, I'm just like, I'll just get rid of one to make it easier to approach, and that's kind of the main way you want to use turnips in this matchup. Hold them until you need them. Don't rely on them too much, but if you ever do get one, use it to kind of disarm a projectile to get a little closer, because Peach wins up close. Yeah, I'm seeing her dashing back a little too much when you get close. Instead, there and just relying on turnips too much, use more back air. Use more back air here for sure. You don't have to be scared of the gunman or the frisbee because back air will just go through it. Fair will even do the trick. Just focus more on pressuring the duck hunt. You're playing a little too scared up close rather than trying to box with the duck hunt and see what his up close habits are. You haven't really gotten much information from that, so it's going to be harder for you in the long run. But I'm seeing up close, this duck hunt likes to go for a lot of nair. So here's a spot where double jump, cancel, fast fall back air, JCFF back air would be really good to start going for against duck hunt and see how he responds to it. But yeah, you're relying too much on turnips. But yeah, this is really good too. You can even float up close. This is what I mean, like use your movement tools, where you can even like float up close to kind of bait out the nair and mix between back air and just jumping and floating to kind of avoid the frisbee and all that. But yeah, see, the time you didn't rely on using turnip, you were able to get a clean hit. So this is really good. After you hit duck hunt, just chase him. How it works is if you aren't edge guarding duck hunt and being aggressive and advantage, you're gonna end up losing because you're gonna lose neutral more on average with Peach because Duck Hunt's neutral is better, and you have to play like really patient and neutral. So the more you get out of your advantage state, the less neutral you'll have to play. And Duck Hunt's disadvantage is pretty poor. All he can really do here when he's up being is either air dodge or you have to wait out the can. So you can kind of bait one of those two, or you can just hit him. But definitely avoid just staying back with turnip. You want to always put on pressure against Duck Hunt because again, his up close tools are not that great and his disadvantage is pretty poor. And even there, I would have thrown it up because I'm gonna guess you're gonna land on the platform since you've been that high, and I would have just started pressuring you from there. But yeah, here, that was a good use of the platform here. Where you're like, okay, I'm gonna avoid the frisbee. This is when you go in. Frisbee's pretty laggy. I kind of forgot to mention that, but frisbee is pretty laggy. This is more just to control the ground or get a hard read or whiff punish. But if he ever throws frisbee, immediately go in there and see how he responds to your pressure. Majority of the time, they'll shield, choose the defensive option. and you kind of dash back. I think you're dashing back a little too much when you can start to go in against Huck when he's giving you these kind of clear openings to do something. But yeah, here, yeah, he landed on the platform with the aerial. Nice patience at the ledge. But yeah, Duck Hunt's ledge trapping is quite good. And how you have to deal with a lot of zoners' ledge trapping is what is their best projectile for ledge trapping and play around that. Sometimes it's even better to get hit by a projectile and DI up so you can recover high with float in some spots rather than dealing with another ledge trap. But around this percent, Duck Hunt's going to be fishing for kills. This is why I say it's okay to be patient in neutral as Peach because you really only need one hit, and Duck Hunt really struggles to kill. And he has to kind of fish for these forward smashes, up smashes, side Bs to really get a lot of mileage on Peach. So I like that you're playing really patient at the ledge here. Yeah, again, don't pull the turnip. Immediately start trying to juggle him with up airs. Yeah, I'm seeing after the frisbee, he likes to throw the can into a frisbee. And after the frisbee, when you get close, he's starting to shield. So we can start to formulate the game plan here of trying to dance around and mix up around his shield. Interesting shield pressure here. You're kind of scared. What you can do here is instead of going for this, the down tilt was fine. You can go for a nair instead of the down tilt and try to bait the roll. Because I don't know, whenever I play Duck Hunts and I start shield pressuring, they always like panic roll for some reason. So that's pretty good. And also seeing what they do out of shield. But the down smash wasn't that great. Instead, you want to use more ground float aerials because they have less lag and it gives you more leeway to read stuff like rolls, maybe a jump away. It just gives you more flexibility. Yeah, there's the turnip again. And instead, you're already close enough to where you can either use movement or start using back air or forward air or even nairs. But yeah, you're pulling too many turnips, I think. And another thing about can is you can just hit it. Nair is a good option for hitting a lot of like weird projectiles back, like Gordo. Soccer balls is kind of weird, but you can kind of just like use an aerial to hit it back if you want to, rather than like being really scared here and just like trying to use movement. And instead, just hit it back towards him if you can. You can even use golf club or side B. There's a few options you can do as Peach rather than just like sitting here and giving up all of that stage. But yeah, now you've made it over. So that's like phase one of this matchup. You've already made it over. Now you're getting closer. And now you're doing this. But you're staying back too much, and I think you're just playing too scared of the can. You can always hit it with turnip if you want. But yeah, just remember you can hit it back with like a rising nair or rising back air, or even like side B if you really want to. Or another option, if you don't want to hit it back and you want to use movement, you can just float, neutral air dodge through it, and now you're closer to Duck Hunt. Yeah, the main patterns is he throws can in neutral, and then he follows up with a gunman. So I can already tell what his pattern's going to be. But yeah, you gave out all that stage because you were just really scared of the can. But yeah, there you could have just neutral air dodged instead of floating there. I will say here, this was a really obvious roll because the Duck Hunt was already like trying to threaten this space. Definitely avoid against good players. They will catch panic rolls every time. Like they'll pressure you here, like pressure your ledge hang, and then go back to cover roll. So the best thing you could have done there, honestly, was just play patient and kind of just go from there. Yeah, see? When you're up close to Duck Hunt, you can just kind of start pressing buttons on them. And see, the one time you're able to do it, you're able to get the kill. So that's why it's so important to get up close to Duck Hunt and see how he responds to your buttons. Oh yeah, that happens. You just gotta wait out the invincibility against Duck Hunt. Here at this percent, I would have just taken the grab because Duck Hunt doesn't have a kill throw at center stage. So it would have just been better to hold shield with the turnip, maybe take the grab because people will often like read you rolling if you shield, or you can just go for more movement because Duck Hunt isn't very fast and just avoid him. Yeah, I think you misjudged how long the invincibility was there. But yeah, there's can into frisbee. So just keep that in mind. So can into frisbee again. And the way you can deal with this is you can. This is why it's also just important to use more float because you're kind of getting trapped here. Oh, I think you side beat is you can just like jump over it right here and start to close the gap there. And see, you pulled the turnip, and like I was saying earlier, you just kind of get trapped there when you're not moving a lot versus Duck Hunt. And you always need to threaten Duck Hunt with your movement. Let me see. Okay, so in these spots here, when we both land here, I just opt to go for a back air here. Because back air gives me more range. It will clank with this. And I think it's good in a lot of scenarios where you're kind of both up here. And you know you want to like push some sort of button on the way down. The back air would have like caught him here. So you could do rising or you could do ground float. I think ground float's a little bit better because you can also cross up his shield. So here, the down tilt, it's okay for shield pressure, but not really great in this scenario where you're both landing. Yeah. And this was kind of obvious. So let me go back to this. This is really important. So against zoners is Peach. You want to be as non-linear as possible. This forward air was really, really obvious. Like a lot of Peaches go for it against zoners. It has its place as you're approaching. You don't want to be floating right here and then fair because it's super duper obvious for a zoner. They're like, okay, I can just wait for you to land and then catch your landing because Peach really struggles to land, or Daisy in this case. So what you can do here is just keep floating. Don't commit to the fair quite yet and just kind of react to what he does. Because if he throws this frisbee here and you're still floating, then you would have gotten an easy punish on this Duck Hunt here. Instead of like going for it all, you probably would have gotten hit. Because if you would have waited for him to throw the frisbee, you can just go in and hit him. Because frisbee is very laggy. So another thing you can do, like as a mix-up in these matchups, is you float here, and if you're unsure of what to do, you can always just jump out of float and wave land on the platform. There's also another platform here, so it's just more resources to think about and more things to mix up with your float, rather than just doing the really obvious like go forward air, because this one isn't really gonna do much for you, and it's pretty telegraphed, honestly. So just mix it up. I'm gonna mention this like in another vid later, but one of the challenges with Peach is knowing all of your options with her and mixing it up. Like it happens to me sometimes too. This character has a lot of options to mix up from because of float. So it's just being aware of all those options and mixing it up, especially against zoners where you want to be unpredictable as possible when getting in to get that hit and then just killing them when they're in disadvantage. But yeah, here, when you're playing too defensive up close, you need to be a little more aggressive. Like the dash attack was good, you're starting to pressure. This is when you can start to do like a raw back air here if you want to, because it'll hit the gunman and pressure him. You can even do like down air if you want, because it's a hitbox that will go out, hit the Duck Hunt and the gunman. So instead of just like did the dash attack here, instead of just shielding here, just be more aggressive. Start to push more buttons, start to force the Duck Hunt to respect you up close, and playing around that. Here I would have guessed he would have like nared or something, so I would have tried to trade with him as Peach, because Peach is good at trading. But yeah, there's the turnip again. It's not bad there, but see, like, you could have just started to like move forward a little more and do like double jump float, land on the platform, like slowly closing the gap with your air movement rather than being stationary with this turnip. And see, you're kind of scared. You're like, oh no, I pulled turnip and now it's the can's coming towards me. So you start to get scared again. So this is why I'm like, don't pull the turnip yet. Use your float movement more to condition the duck hunt to place his projectiles elsewhere. Because since you're playing so grounded, he's starting to throw like cannons of frisbee or putting the gunman right here to cover you on the ground. And you haven't really used enough air movement to close the gap to condition the duck hunt to throw his projectiles in another place. Okay. This is something I want to mention with Peach and Daisy. So how do you use movement like this? So this is not how you want to use your movement with Peach, because there's a time and place to use movement, and then there's unnecessary movement, and you're kind of doing unnecessary movement right here, where it's like I'm just like kind of moving here, not really doing much. The way you want to use movement as Peach is in two ways. One, like I mentioned earlier, to like slowly close the gap against your opponent and then get up close, or as a mix up close when you're pressuring. Because like for example, if I'm pressuring this duck hunt with back airs up close, he's gonna want to shield more, and then add a shield. If I jump and do a back air, if I jump and do a back air, this duck hunt will jump away, or this duck hunt will double jump at a shield, for example. I'll try to get a better place to talk about this later, but you can kind of bait options up close with your movement. That's another way you can do this with Peach, and to move in and out of their burst range. But in terms of zoners, you're going to be the one approaching, so you can't really play the spacing game with your movement as much. But in these matchups, you want to use your movement to slowly close the gap and bait your opponent to throw projectiles, and up close to mix up your pressure, mix up your timings, stuff like that. Doing it like this doesn't really do much. I think you were waiting for the frisbee, but yeah, like that kind of movement doesn't really work against owners because they're just gonna not approach anyways. So, but yeah, here was a spot you could have also taken advantage of because you pulled turnip, you kind of lost it. After that, smash attack, that's a good place to start closing the gap a little bit and start pressuring the duck hunt. After smash attacks, most people will spot dodge in this game. They'll do some sort of defensive option after throwing out a really laggy move because they don't want to get hit by like a peach down tilt, you know? So you can use that to your advantage by using your movement, like dashing in, make them think you're going to punish the smash attack, float to call out to see what they do if they spot dodge or jump away, and then punish them for it because you're already floating in this area, you're already pressuring this area. So yeah, that's the other way you can use movement is up close. You mix up your timings. Like instead of throwing out a back air, you can float backwards, threaten the back air. Don't press a button, make them scared to like spot dodge or something, and then you get a free down tilt because you baited them to spot dodge there. Hope that makes sense. Instead of just like moving in random spots hoping they get baited, there's more practical applications for movement against zoners, which is up close and closing the gap in neutral. But again, I'm not going to mention it anymore, but you're starting to pull turnips in spots where you can start to like push your advantage. No, this is neutral. You can start to take advantage of these situations. That's what I'm trying to say. I haven't like eaten too much today, so I'm kind of tired. But yeah, use more movement to bait and threaten the duck hunt and Peach's buttons rather than waste losing opportunities by pulling turnip. But yeah, he's starting to nair. And in these spots, you want to mix up your float heights a little bit. You could also use the platform here because the duck hunt's throwing out this nair because they're anticipating you to approach in the air. And this is a great spot to mix up your float heights here. You can even use the platforms if you don't want to float. You can double jump waveland, or if you want to be really tricky, you could have floated a little bit higher and down aired him to call out the short hop anti air from this duck hunt. So definitely start to mix up your float heights. Since you haven't been using like too much air movement, we haven't really conditioned the duck hunt a whole lot. But keep in mind when you're doing air movement to mix up your float heights to always keep them guessing. But yeah, again, you're starting to panic. Don't panic versus this character. The number one reason why you don't want to panic versus Duck Hunt is because he can't really kill without him reading a panic option. So it's okay to not toad and just jump away, because even if you're at 100%, Duck Hunt has to really reach for that kill sometimes. And Peach only needs like one or two neutral wins to get the kill instead. So instead of doing this panic toad here, it would have been completely fine to jump away, maybe like go to this platform here, just drift away. Don't try to play a dangerous guessing game where Duck Hunt could easily just read you and get like a free forward smash kill. And Duck Hunt with the lead's like really obnoxious because he just camps you. So you're just making it a little bit harder. It's a small decision that can add up. And that's kind of what the big thing about Smash is. It's all about decision making. Instead, here, just jump away, be more patient, be a little more passive and disadvantaged. No need to rush things because you only need like 2 hits versus Duck Hunt. Interesting mix up. So, one thing I want you to be aware of here is on stages like Kalos and Town, you can use this platform to your advantage. You can also get up attack the can, but it's honestly best against zoners ledge trapping to just be patient. Zoners really want you to choose an immediate option or panic in the corner. So here would have been a great spot to kind of just wait, honestly. You can even float under the stage if you just want to avoid the ledge trap here. Like you got hit, you could have just honestly like floated all the way to the other side because can is already over here. He's already thrown out the can. So then on the other side, you wouldn't have had to worry about this option from the Duck Hunt. So yeah, keep in mind you can also recover under the stage as Peach to avoid zoners ledge trapping. So yeah, just keep that in mind. It's another way to get around the ledge traps if you can't recover high. Yeah, there's a roll again. You got really lucky there. You panic rolled again. Instead, I want you to wait on the ledge a little bit longer. You got really lucky. He down through up aired, but because ultimate, the multi hit didn't work, so you didn't die. But definitely keep in mind of these panic rolls. Don't ever give them to zoners for free. That's what they want. That's how they get their kills. And what good players will do is they'll let you roll it first. They'll let you get away with it. They know you're doing it, so they'll keep it for when they need a kill. So just keep that in mind. Don't always panic roll because there are characters that will kind of force you to roll. Instead, sometimes it's just sometimes it's just better here to sometimes just like take the hit from a projectile with like regular get up or something to recover high, or just waiting rather than just like panic rolling. Good dash attack, and dash attack is also a good burst option up close because you can just like it's another way to put on pressure rather than just run up raw back air. It's fast, it's good, but here you could have also just like raw back aired instead, and it would have covered the same options, I think. But dash attack's not bad. You saw he threw the can, and if after the can, I'm gonna guess he's gonna throw a side B because that's the pattern I've been seeing the most from this Duck Hunt. Is can into side B. Yep, and that's why you can't pull trigger. And you almost died. And here, yeah, see, there it is. Like you pulled the turnip again and you got trapped. And see, what you can do here is just air dodge. Just air dodge, maybe go to ledge. I wouldn't land here because Duck Hunt's gonna like catch my landings. But yeah, instead of floating up there, you could have just like air dodge through, go to ledge. Play it safe. Another option you can do to like mix up your approaches is hold the turnip and run up shield. That's a good option versus zoners because if he ever throws out like a really laggy, because most projectiles up at point blank aren't that safe in this game, so you can just like run up shield. Like Wolf Laser is like -20. I think Frisbee isn't. Well, it's kind of like a weird multi hit, but can also will explode if you run up shield. So if like gyro isn't too safe up close, so you can punish it with the turnip out of shield. So keep that in mind as a way to mix it up. I want you to pull the turnip and just hold it for when you really need it, because you can use it while doing air movement. You can just like throw it at the gunman if you really want, or the can. But I want you to move around in the air a lot more while holding the turnip, because there's a lot of times you just like immediately throw it and you just didn't really get much off of it when turnip has a little more utility. So you want to hold it more, because you can also use it as an out of shield option when you approach him. Just like run up shield. You can whip punish duck hunt. Just hold Peach with a turnip in hand is a top tier, and you really have to take advantage of that. It will also make it easier to get a hit on him, because you can just throw the turnip and grab, and now he's off stage because of down throw back air. So be a little more patient when throwing your turnips, and really pick your spots to throw it, because you're not really getting enough off of it, I don't think. Yeah, this was a good float. So you finally, phase one, you made it past the can. So you floated here because you thought he was going to throw it, and this is good. But the fair was really obvious, but he didn't punish it. But keep in mind, you can also jump out of the float. Just mix up your air movement a little bit to be unpredictable. Because the more predictable you are versus zoners, the easier it is for them to just like wall you out. You panicked. You got hit there, you got down air. And here would have been fine to just go for a raw back air to catch his landing. But yeah, here, go for more back airs when you're like at point blank versus duck hunt. He could parry it, but you haven't made him scared enough to go for parries against back airs. And then that's when you can start mixing it up rather than going for like the jab. Because the back air will go through the frisbee or clank with it. So it's really good. Back air. And instead of pulling turnip, just chase him, because you want to get this kill. Turnip doesn't really net you much, and you're better off just going after duck hunt. Oh, you got him. Let me see here. It's like you threw it. This was okay movement. Like, that's all right. So like space around him a little bit, but it's even better up close to do the same thing. But it was kind of unnecessary when you could have just been like walking or dashing and using float. But it was okay. You can't really use that kind of micro space movement at the mid range in this matchup. It's a lot harder. It's possible, but instead you want to go for more air movement at mid range rather than like trying to micro space him out and bait options. Duck hunt doesn't have to approach. Got him with the down smash. He buffered the side B. Okay, so just hold the turnip here. Good roll. That's something I do want to mention against duck hunt in a lot of zoners. Crossing them up with the roll is a really good mix-up. Because, again, the can's going over here, frisbee goes over here, gunman faces this way. So why not just, like, cross them up? So even auto-cancel side B will do the same thing, where you jump over the frisbee and auto-cancel, like, side B, and you cross duck hunt up. And duck hunt, again, he doesn't have the out of shield to deal with it. So crossing duck hunt up is really good, because he only shoots his projectiles in one way. So keep that in mind. I love the roll mix up here, and I like that you're starting to pressure him up close with buttons. But he mashes out a hit stun, because I think this, I don't know if this was online or not, but he got you there. But yeah, I'm also seeing like you immediately float out of disadvantage, and he might start calling you out for this. But if you are up here, just keep in mind of the anti-air, go for the down air, like while you're floating, just to not let him jump up at you for free. So it's kind of the same thing with Nair that I mentioned earlier. Oh no! Uh-oh. What happened here? So here, so he throws the can. Best to be patient there, because see, a lot of this duck hunt, you're at kill percent, so he's starting to get impatient and fish for kills. So I would just keep that in mind, play patient at ledge. I would have done like regular get up there after he did the smash attack, because it won't reach there. And You side beat instead. Uh-oh. You got really lucky. Oh my god, you're scrambling a lot. So you did that. You tried to land on him with the button, which is really risky as Peach, but somehow you avoided this by the grace of God. And now you're going to try to punish him like this. So you go for the trade. But definitely avoid these situations. I think you're putting yourself in a lot of really risky situations and you're kind of barely getting out of it. So don't land on Duck Hunt with buttons because he will just smash attack you and you're dead. Even at this percent, you can still win because Duck Hunt's disadvantage is so poor that all you need is like one hit into an edge guard and he dies. So especially without Ken, he has even less mix-ups off stage. So you're still in it. No need to rush things like putting yourself in these really risky spots where you're like back airing him there or you're like trying to land on him with the button. You don't need to do this. You can just play it patient here until you get the hit. I'm seeing at mid-range on the ground, your kind of thing of choice is to go for these dash attacks. And this was good at first, but now you can mix it up with movement where you kind of like run there. Wait, did you dash attack there? Yeah, you kind of dash attack there because you were in a scramble. But you can also mix it up with movement there. It was good. The shield into down air. Side B. Side B was risky, I won't lie. But you saw him shielding. You can also go for a back air there, like just raw back air. And that would have worked too. So here, just chase him. Don't pull the turn up. You really need this kill. Side B. Nice. Now you're fighting him up close. Yeah, you got to pay attention to the can at all times. That's why you don't immediately go for like risky ledge traps like this. Because if you try to down smash, then you just get hit by the can. So you actually see what I mean? You actually could have gotten it because all Peach needs is like one hit here into like a good conversion. Where you like hit him, side B him, you chase him there, like you got him again, and that was good. That's how you want to use your movement up close. That's kind of what I was mentioning. Where it's like, you're here, make them think you're gonna push a button. And so you kind of use a little tricky movement to play around, to space around their out of shield. And then you just go for the side B. You nair there because you think he's going to like chase you. And see, Peach needs way less hits than Duck Hunt. So you actually could have won here if you were playing it a little more patient. But yeah, unfortunate, it happens. But let's move on to the next game. Alright. This stage is okay. You have a big platform in the middle, which will definitely help you a lot. But again, with the pulling the turnip at the start, I guess it's not as bad here. But you're kind of losing on this opportunity to just like rush at Duck Hunt and hit him for throwing can. Yeah, you're relying too much on these turnips. Instead, you need to like slowly move towards him. Oh lord, what is going on? Yeah, so off of the platform, you have to keep in mind of Duck Hunt's frisbee because he can do like wave bounce frisbee and hit you, and then it goes into the can. But that's why it's important to always see where the can is. Because if you know where the can is, you know what Duck Hunt wants to combo you into. So if you knew this was here, you could have just like jumped onto the platform, avoided this frisbee mix-up, and not have to take all this damage. So you have to, it's kind of like what I was saying with Luma and Hydrant. Just always, and even like C4, always see where it is because I'll give you a better indication of what the Duck Hunt is looking for. So, that was good. That was a really good float, but unfortunately, you didn't react fast enough. But this is what I mean. Using this air movement at this height, maybe a little farther back, just to avoid the anti-air, but this was really good to avoid it, and so you could have gone in for a punish there. So this is actually how you want to use it, just like floating here, every once in a while. If there's a platform, you can move onto it. Just like not holding forward in the air, just using it to avoid the projectiles and conditioning. You don't want to approach with float because again, he will just nair you or fair you. It's mainly there, like I said, for the conditioning and to avoid stuff like frisbee. But you actually could have just hit him there. But this was a correct use of float. Not the forward air though. Not the forward air. Instead, just land, just empty land. Don't even press a button because it's too late to go for the punish. Just empty land here so you're not at ledge. And the side view is also bad because you're overextending and being aggressive in the corner. And you already know Duck Hunt's really looking for that kill. So what you could have done here is use it to your advantage. You're like, I know Duck Hunt. This is kind of what I was saying, using your movement correctly. Is you're up close to Duck Hunt. We know what he wants. We know he wants to hit you with a smash attack. So what you can do is dash in, dash out, bait the smash attack, and punish. Or you can use like double jump JCFF, something like that to maneuver around his range up close and bait him into doing a smash attack and punishing him. That's one optimal way to use your movement as Peach, is mixing them up close and baiting options that you know they're looking for. Yeah, definitely that was not the right call. But see, you're dashing back too much and you need to be more aggressive up close. And there it is again, where you're not holding the turn up. You're not really... When you have this turn up, you have to remember that your threat range has increased. So you can also... It's a lot easier to bait options when you have a turn up because you cover more space. So definitely throwing it there wasn't the right call. Instead, pulling the turnip wasn't good either. But see, you could have just started like moving towards him at this point rather than like pulling turnip here. You could have even started like shield pressuring. The can is up here. It's not gonna like miraculously go down here unless the duck hunt somehow hits it. But yeah. Just remember, you're losing a lot of opportunities here by pulling this turnip. You're letting this duck hunt set up, and that's what the number one thing you don't want him to do. But even here, you could even just like double jump and use air movement onto the platform here to avoid this can and this gunman, and hold the turnip too. And another nice thing about holding turnip is even if after you get hit, it gives you another option and disadvantage to work with. So definitely be more patient when holding turnip. Use more air movement. Those are like the main things. And just using more movement and buttons in general. When you're playing too scared. Nice, you chase him. And that's what I want you to do more of. Is hit him, chase him. You were going to try to catch the landing there and up smash. But the up smash was a little bit spaced, just slightly off. But you had the right idea. You chase the duck hunt, putting on the pressure. And now we have some information. Where after we hit this duck hunt and we chase him, he likes to jump. So now, after we hit him the next time, we can try to catch his jump. It's exactly how you do it. After you get the up air, just start juggling him, especially after the can. If Duck Hunt doesn't have the can, just go ham on him. He doesn't have a way to mix you up when he's in juggle scenarios and off stage, so you should have kept chasing him there. Good use of movement, but I want to see this movement more when you're trying to approach him, where you're like, okay, I'm going to maneuver around you and get on this platform, rather than kind of like using it there. But it was okay there, because you thought the frisbee was going to come, like right here, so this was alright. But use more of this movement in neutral to slowly close the gap, rather than kind of like using it mid-range to bait them and hope. It doesn't really do enough. But yeah, there's the wave bounce, side B off the platform right there. So you got to just be aware of it. What you can do is if like, you can do a few things here. You can jump and go for a downer here. Or if you're like really ballsy, you can just go for a toad. You can do that sometimes. Toad's not bad versus projectiles because Toad actually has quite a bit of range. So you can use it. Good jump away. Nice. And this is what I mean about just take the projectile hit sometimes. Oh, what did that do? Okay. It said like 10% or something. But like here, you're just like taking the projectile hit and you're just like playing patient. And see, now the can is gone, so it's easier to get off of ledge at this point. But you got away with another roll. Good. Don't pull the turnip. Just kind of wait. Okay. Here I would have played a little more patient. I get the up smash attempt because you thought he was gonna like nair here, but most characters with projectiles off of ledge will try to jump and throw a projectile. Like what's one? Like Richter will jump off holy water. He will throw a can. Like even Rosa will like jump and use neutral B. So try to cover the jump more rather than trying to risk it all with this up smash. Cover it. You could have like covered it with fair. You would have traded with can, but you also would have killed Duck Hunt because he's not that heavy. Good movement. I like the idea here where you're kind of floating, but you want to float up here a little bit more. Save your jump because what the jump can also do is you can just jump over the can. So you can just float here, wait, and then you could have like fallen down with the forward air for the punish. But starting to kind of figure out use more movement. But it's just, yeah, there you go. But yeah, you have to wait in the air a little bit longer because Duck Hunt will try to catch your landings with this, and instead it would have been better to just like go to the platform instead of try to land aggressively right here. Just go to the platform, kind of wait for the Duck Hunt, and just go from there. So you have some stage control to work with. There's the nair. Good roll. That was awesome. Yeah, these rolls are really paying off for you. So this is something you can do up close. It's just like I said earlier, just cross them up. You hit the gunman, and there is the nice use of float. There. It's like I was saying. You're just like he thinks he's gonna catch your landing, so you just keep floating. You play patient, and then you go in for the punish. You can even use platforms too. Okay, well he's dead. You actually killed him there. But you got him there. But see, you have to play aggressive off stage. Keep Duck Hunt in disadvantage. Nice. You're using float really well now. It's like, okay. He hasn't really been throwing projectiles in the air. It's more been on the ground. But that float mix-up was really good. And see, when you start using air movement, you're going to force Duck Hunt to start to go for these back airs and aerials, and that's really good because if he's throwing out a back air towards you, he's not throwing a projectile, so that makes it even easier to get in and close the gap. So I hope you're starting to see how all of these parts are starting to fit together on how to play this matchup. But yeah, there's a way to use turn up. You have to be a little farther though. You don't want to dash in immediately. It's just a way to like stop it right there. It won't stop the frisbee. Oh, yeah, keep in mind of the gunman, and like he's doing a lot of can into another projectile. That's the biggest pattern I'm seeing. So I would wait for him to throw the first projectile and then maneuver around either the gunman or the frisbee next, because he's always going to throw can first. So you can use float to avoid those. And see, since you've been in the air, he's going to put it here. So that's where the conditioning comes from. So yeah, you could have just stayed, and that's when you shift to play more grounded instead as a mix-up. And if you would have had that turn-up, you could even just run up and shield, see if the Duck Hunt throws out like a really laggy tilt to catch you, and you would have gotten a punish. So that's why it's also important to keep your turn-ups, because run-up, turn-up, and shielding is a good ground mix-up while after you're doing air movement. Okay, be patient there, but yeah, you don't want to do that. Don't go for these forward airs because the Duck Hunt hasn't really been trying to scout your jumps that much. He already has the can here. So there's no real reason to go for this forward air here. Because the Duck Hunt's just trying to read your roll or some aggressive option because you haven't really been that patient in the corner this game. So that was a really good F smash on his part because he's starting to read your habits at ledge to get these kills. Yeah, there. It's This would have been good to start using the air mix-ups again. So we see can. I'm going to guess you're going to do a frisbee here. So let me jump over it and punish you. And then now you're off stage and you can take like 1,000,000,000% from me. So the ground flow, I think that was ground flow Florida there. Wasn't the optimal choice. Instead, just go use more movement. You could even get on the platform. But yeah, pay attention to these patterns. See what they do after throwing a projectile. Down there? Yeah, you're starting to panic every time you like land too, and that's something you don't want to do. It's okay to get hit and disadvantage and not press anything. Like, don't put your hand off of the buttons and keep your thumb on the analog stick to just drift certain ways. You will panic and then you just like get hit and you're taking all of this damage. Frisbee into gunman. Yeah, that is another thing he has been doing too, where he throws the frisbee first to cover the ground and then he throws a gunman here. So that's another thing to keep in mind. Like, what is he after can? It's usually gunman, most likely gonna be the frisbee depending on your movement, and after the frisbee it's gonna be the gunman. So yep, nice patience there. Good float. Oh, good pause there. And no, you pulled the turnip. Nice float use there. But every time you float, this is what I mean about mixing up your movement. Every time you float, you always come down with an aerial. And I want you to mix it up. What you can do is, Peach, I think you still have your jump here. Let me make sure. Yeah, you still do. Oh, you did a double jump. But let's say you did a full hop instead. Full hop avoids his short hop nair. And what you could do here, let's say you still kept your jump. You could go down, bait him to think you're going to land on him, and then jump, and then punish the smash attack here. It's another mix-up. Or if you want to be safe, you could just jump to the nearby platform here. So definitely mix up what you're doing out of float and what you're doing in the air and how you're landing. It's really important as Peach. At this turnip pull, definitely not it. Just keep hitting him, keep pressuring with back air. And there would have been fine to just go for back air here too, because you can cross up his shield here. And if Duck Hunt does push like a nair out of shield, you end up trading with it, which helps you. But it was a little bit off, but it would have worked if you were closer. If you were here, yeah, if you were a little bit closer there, the back air would have definitely clanked and hit Duck Hunt. But no! But this is one thing you want to avoid as Peach, where you're in the air and then you jump and float. Because now you're out of resources. So the Duck Hunt has like every right to go up here and up air because it will frame trap you. Peach doesn't have the luxury of fast fall air dodge, so you can't really get away with air dodging here. And when you did this float jump in the blast zone and got rid of your resources, like right there, you basically don't have a way to mix up your landing. So you're forced to just go to the ledge here. Instead, you could have also floated, done the mix-up we were saying earlier, where you go down fake an assault, and then just jump out of the way to land safely. So don't land on people with buttons and see just because of that one decision, you lost all your resources and you died for it. So definitely avoid panicking when you're in disadvantage. That was another big thing I saw, where it was you landed, you pressed a button, you're always trying to land on people with buttons, and you're always like jumping and floating at a hit stun. And that's something you can't afford to do as Peach, especially since she can't really land. And she has a floaty air dodge. So here we go. Pull the turnip. I guess it's not as bad on this stage either. But yeah, let's get right into it. But here, if you are going to float, avoid approaching with float like this far away. You want to do it more at mid-range as like a mix-up. But if you are going to do it here, just air dodge, like neutral air dodge right past you. See, you could have. You need to hold them more. Oh shoot, my computer is just messing up. Yeah, kind of getting stuck by pulling this turnip here. But yeah, off of the platform, this Duck Hunt every time. It seems like they're just gonna throw a frisbee, a a B reverse or wave bounce frisbee. So you got to keep that in mind. What projectile patterns have we seen so far? Can into dashback gunman, can into an aerial, but he also uses a gunman. Can into frisbee, like we've seen pretty much this whole game. So the big thing he's doing is he always throws a projectile and backs away to throw out another one. And what you can do in these spots is you can just walk towards them and slowly close the gap. You don't want to hold forward because Peach does. She's not like a Crom where she can just like jump all the way over there with her airspeed and just pressure him. She doesn't have that luxury. But instead, you just like slowly walk, maybe float. Like I was saying earlier, don't like approach with float, just float to avoid the frisbee. Maybe air dodge. You also haven't really been using auto cancel side B. And that's a really interesting choice in this matchup because what you can do is you can auto cancel side B, and if he throws this gunman, you bounce right off of it. Even if you miss the gunman, you're still in a good spot where you're crossed up the duck hunt, and he can't throw another projectile that way because Can is already all the way over here. So you can start pressuring him from there. So definitely use that as a mix-up, especially since this duck hunt's main like route of walling you out is throwing a projectile, dash back, throw another one. So you can just auto cancel side B over it. It's safe on shield. There's just like a lot of weird things you can do with side auto cancel side B in this matchup. It's really interesting. Definitely think about it more when you're doing air movement because it's similar to dash attack where it's a burst option but in the air. And aerial burst options are better in this matchup because you don't have to worry about like frisbee or grounded gunman, and it will even bounce off the gunman. So yeah, here instead of pulling turnip, just like double jump float or just jump float over it, or you can just like go to ledge if you want. But he was already covering now with the frisbee. And the Z drop wasn't really that great. Instead, you would have gotten if you want. I see what you're trying to do, and it would have been better to just throw it up here to like cover him running off the platform. But here would have been a nice spot. In these spots where you're unsure of how to get the down, if you're not going to get the down tilt, you can just go for a dash attack. It's a lot better. Down tilt's kind of weird because see, Peach is so slow that even this far away, she can't get the punish. It's not like Crom, like I was saying. You don't have the speed to just like do whatever you want, but you can always just run over there and dash attack if you're unsure, and that puts him in a juggle scenario. And we've already seen that he likes to jump when you're chasing his landing. Yeah, right there. But yeah, in the corner, I'm seeing this a lot where you're just like trying to get out of there as fast as possible. It's okay to just like wait here. Even versus this you can just like jump near it or rising back air. You have to space it a certain way, so definitely practice that in training mode on hitting on ways to hit whatever you're most comfortable with. But yeah, because you're always like getting baited by this and you're just playing scared. And then once you're in the corner here, that goes with the other habit from earlier, where you're just like forcing your way out. And it's okay to just sit there. Like you just wait there, play patient, and kind of see what they do and how they pressure you. But yeah, running in like this has gotten you killed quite a bit. So definitely keep that in mind. There's like two habits in one there that kind of just went with each other. Yeah, see, he's just like fishing for the kill. We know what he wants, so we can start to bait that option. And pulling turnip also does like the same thing here, where you're just like trapped in the corner, and Duck Hunt easily could have just like dash attacked you or hit you there. He's trying to read the jump here, which is kind of weird because you haven't really been jumping on the platform. But I guess he's just trying to cover options. But yeah, that turnip was really risky. Instead, you could just like wait there in the corner. One great option Peach has at her disposal here is you can SH JCFF. That's another like movement option you can use. SH JCFF into shield or walk into shield in the corner just to pull up shield quickly. Because people, when they're pressuring you in the corner, they don't want to commit to grabs. Because grabs, if they miss, they then get punished for them, and now they're in disadvantage. So it's like a reversal. So using shield as a way to get out the corner is pretty good against a lot of characters if they don't have like plus on block stuff. So yeah, being patient in the corner, maybe use walking and shielding a little bit more rather than like rushing out of there or pulling turnip here. Definitely not great choices. Oh, you got the gunman definitely screwed you over there. One thing you can do, I'm noticing this duck hunt after he gets hit, he tries to like press a button. And one way you can do that is just like run up shielding. Run up shield also is good against can because it'll just explode. I like the idea you're trying to like push your advantage state with the down tilt, but keep in mind of what your opponent does after they get hit. He's usually like nair, throw a frisbee, don't like can at a disadvantage. He's not really playing very patient and disadvantage. Maybe a jump away, but yeah, keep this in mind too. You can also run up shield to catch people's landing, especially versus duck hunt, where you can explode the can on him and just like keep going. But here, let's just say we were perfect and we saw this gunman here and we knew the matchup perfectly. What you can do here is just go for the down air here. Just go for the down air, like Z catch down air here. See, because this duck hunt was going to go for the frisbee at a hit stun anyways, like I was saying. So you can just go for the down air here. You don't have to even worry about the gunman here. And yeah, you can just convert off of that with a combo. That's one way I like to chase people when I'm this close and I see they like to like spot dodge or mash out of hit stun with a grounded move. I just do a downer here, basically, with the turnip. You can do Z catch or float, whatever works for you. But yeah, definitely add that to your arsenal to punish that. Uh-oh, there's a panic roll. Yeah. Fair is too slow to hit the can back. It sounds great in theory to hit projectiles back with fair like this, if they're coming like right towards you, but fair's too slow. So you have to end up just going low here rather than trying to like contest it. You can even air dodge there if you want. But yeah, unnecessary movement. Just pull turnip and start going forward. No need to do all of that. It's not really getting you anything. On the ground, though, what you can do is just side B it. It works. You can also down tilt the can. Yeah, you can down tilt the can too. That's another option you have. But back here, I see you're trying to do it. I think you're just not used to hitting can back. So, like I said earlier, practice it in training mode. Practice different ways to hit back can with aerials and tilts. Even like golf club is okay. But yeah, definitely work on that. Back here. Nice. We're chasing him. And then we go in the air like this. So using float extremely well, where you don't even have to push a button here. It gets the same reward if you just float up there and wait and see what the duck hunt does. And then you can fall down with the back air. Because see, you already committed to this downer here. So you hit him. You try to catch the roll. Here, I would have waited for the frisbee. Just jump, float, don't even down air, and just react. Just react, and then you could have punished him there with the back air. Uh-oh. What happened here? So this is an okay time to use turnip to pull it, where it's like, okay, I'm too far to really do much, but you are still in the corner. So this turnip was like okay in hindsight because yeah, the can, if he hits it, it's gonna go this way. The gunman is here, so I could pull it here. It is safe enough. Also, another thing to research, which I'll like send you a video on or link it in the description, is all the 5 gunmen. They all have different ranges and different kills, but I think it's more important for you to work on hitting the can back and using your movement rather than getting really specific about the gunman. But I'll definitely send you a video on that. But yeah, this gunman doesn't go. Let me see. Gunman goes really far. Yeah, that one goes somewhat far. So let's say you knew the range on that. So this would have been okay. But you're still in the corner. So I don't know if the turnip pull was that great here. But yeah, now you're shielding. And one thing I want you to realize is spot dodge is a decent option in these spots, or just jumping, because he did throw out the gunman, and that's something the video talks over with Duck Hunt's combos with gunman. Is he wants to condition or bait you to shield, he grabs you, and then he can combo off of it like that. So I think that video will definitely help you a lot to understand how and why he uses gunman. So yeah, chase him. Interesting scenario for both of y'all. I mean, it's kind of weird to pull the turn up here, because I would have just chased him with up air, but he ends up like weirdly up being here, which I guess is a miss input. I think he's trying to like hit this, but instead just like chase him with up air. When he doesn't have the can, you really have nothing too much to worry about. You can even frame trap the air dodge with the short hop up air here, where you just like jump up air, maybe a little earlier than that, where you frame trap the air dodge and you can punish him, or you just hit him. So this is good. That's great use of float, actually, like this, but without minus the fair. Where it's like you're here, you're playing very reactionary. You're using it to avoid the projectiles. Keep in mind of your resources when you're in this spot. You also have the platform. But yeah, this is a great way to use float. Avoid the projectiles. You could just empty land there. You don't even have to. Don't force your way in with float. Use the air to slowly close the gap versus Duck Hunt. Don't hold forward in the air, because Duck Hunt has good ways to catch your landings. But yeah, I'm seeing you're always landing the same way with an aerial. Just got to mix it up. You can jump towards them and then jump away. Well, you can float, drift towards them, and then jump away with good spacing. It's a bait an option. You can jump towards a platform. You can do all sorts of stuff with float. You can even like side B out of it. There's just I want you to realize all of your options when you're in this scenario with float. Like what can I do here to mix up? Platform. You could land, but you've been doing that like this whole time. Just like playing very patient. Not really holding forward like this. Just playing reactionary. And slowly getting space with it. Because you have to think of float like a platform. You can put a platform anywhere you want. But you know, in this game, we're running off of the platform. It's really obvious for a lot of characters, and you can punish it like this. So think of float as a platform. You can do a lot of mix-ups with movement with platforms, and you just have to realize float is basically a platform you can put anywhere. That makes sense. So you mix it up similarly to a platform. Yeah, there it is. Dash back, pull, turn up. Definitely work on that. This is what I want you to definitely work on, using your air movement a little bit better rather than relying on turn-ups. But yeah, now you're starting to like rush things and like getting in, and see you're just getting punished really, really hard for it. Instead, you have to play it more patient and neutral. You're at the Duck Hunt's patterns. To see it's gunman into frisbee. And see, the thing about your movement is, depending on where you're positioned, the Duck Hunt's going to throw out different tools for that. So like he's covering the float here, he's covering the landing here. So that's why it's important to mix up your movement. Like your ground movement's okay. The only thing you really haven't been using is walking enough. But the air movement is the big, big thing, and using platforms. So if there's one thing to work on, it's definitely your air movement. It's been hurting you a lot this set, and there's a lot of times where if you didn't pull turn up, when you started mixing in like really specific float heights and even side Bs, walking, you could have won neutral by punishing frisbee and such. But yeah, here, when you're up close, if you ever think he's going to throw the can, just remember you can shield it right here, and it'll blow up on him. So keep that in mind. Uh-oh, yeah. See, you're holding forward too much. Where it's like, oh no, I want to punish you right now. You can't, because you're getting landing trapped with this frisbee. When you could just like, when right here, you could have just like, oh, you're going to catch my landing? Instead of doing that unnecessary like movement right there, you could have just floated. Let me go right back to it so you can see. Instead of doing that, you could have just held your float, make him think you're gonna land, and then float, and then punish this frisbee. So yeah. But yeah, be more passive with your movement, because you can end up, because patience with Peach is really, really big. Because if you're not patient, then you end up getting punished and killed like that, and you miss a lot of opportunities to get stuff like down tilts or a combo starter and just stuff like that. But yeah, you're holding forward too much in this matchup now. I think you're just getting really antsy. Oh my god. Oh my god. Yeah, see, this is what happens when you're not patient. I mean, the up smash, you're trying to read the roll, but you got to think of it like this. He's going to throw the can. If you were confident in hitting it back, you could have just like nared it here, hit it back towards him. Now it's off stage. Now he has to hit it towards off stage, which is a great spot for you. But yeah, you're getting really antsy with these up smashes, and so you just get punished really hard. Like against good players, they will just destroy you. This was a nice clip from him. But yeah, big things. Rely more on your movement and being patient before pulling turnip, because when you pull turnip, you're getting trapped. You were starting to scramble and choose a lot of really odd options that were getting you punished. So definitely your air movement. I'll send you the gunman video. Um, but yeah, I think I said everything I needed for this video. But definitely practice how to hit can back in the training room. Your air movement is, I've kind of said to death by now. The turnip thing, and also taking advantage of closing the ad versus duck hunt, because you kind of were playing patient, and then once you had a clear opening, you just like dash back and pull turnip. And I was like, wait, why aren't you going towards the duck hunt and pressuring him with like back airs and such? So definitely that. And there wasn't a lot of times we got into edge guarding either. Edge guarding is also a big thing. That's also because you were losing neutral quite a bit. So yeah, I hope this video helps.